Welcome back to The Invisible Hand, the podcast where we break down the global economy so you can understand what's happening in your wallet. I'm your host, Callum Martini, and today we are tackling the single most powerful, yet most misunderstood force driving the prices of everything we buy, the U.S. dollar. It truly is the foreman of the global economy, and we're going to find out how it sets the cost of your smartphone, your coffee, and even the gas you pump.
It's great to be here, Kala, and that's exactly right. Most people think of the dollar as just a U.S. currency, but its status as the world's reserve currency means its strength or weakness is felt instantly globally. We're going to pull back the curtain on why that new imported car suddenly costs 10% more this month.
Exactly. We've all noticed those inexplicable price jumps. So let's start with the context, B. Why does the dollar hold this king currency status? It's not just about the size of the U.S. economy, right?
No, it's historic, dating back to the Bretton Woods agreements in 1944. But today, its dominance rests on three pillars. First, it's the trade invoicing currency. Think of oil, the petrodollar, and gold. They're nearly always priced and paid for in USD. So even if Peru is buying steel from South Korea, the transaction is often settled in dollars.
The common language of money.
Precisely. The second pillar is its reserve status. Every central bank, the IMF, they all hold large volumes of dollars as a secure asset. This provides unparalleled liquidity and trust. And the third, the flight of quality phenomenon. When global markets panic, say a war or a banking crisis, investors immediately rush their capital into the safest haven, U.S. Treasury bonds. They want dollars. That demand strengthens the dollar relative to virtually every other currency on the planet.
That makes sense. So if the dollar is the master key to global trade, let's talk about the keeper of the key, the U.S. Federal Reserve. How does their decision on U.S. interest rates, which feels so remote, immediately affect the price of, say, a microchip manufactured in Taiwan and sold in Brazil?
It's like the Fed is holding the baton for the entire global orchestra. When the Fed raises interest rates, they make the dollar instantly more attractive. Think about it. Why would I invest in a local bond yielding 2% when I can put my money in the U.S. and get 5% risk-free?
You wouldn't. The money flows to the higher return.
Exactly. Capital flows out of local markets and into the U.S. That sudden high demand for the dollar strengthens it. When the dollar strengthens, your local currency devalues, meaning you need more of your local money to buy that single, expensive dollar. This is where the price transmission mechanism kicks in.
The transmission mechanism. That sounds like a textbook term, but it's actually a very visceral feeling at the grocery store. Explain the pass-through effect.
The pass-through effect is the speed and magnitude at which the exchange rate change is transferred to domestic prices. And for highly import-dependent countries, it's often immediate and sometimes even preemptive.
Preemptive? How?
Imagine you're an importer selling high-end appliances. You bought your inventory a month ago when the dollar was cheaper. Today, your local currency devalued 10% overnight. You know that if you sell your current stock at the old price, you won't have enough local currency to buy the dollars needed to replenish your inventory at the new higher dollar cost. So, you raise your prices today on the existing stock just to secure your ability to buy future inventory. That's the preemptive hedge.
That is a brutal reality check. It means the price of my TV goes up not just because of the devaluation, but sometimes because of anticipated devaluation. So, B, what are the high-impact examples we should be watching out for in our daily lives?
Three categories hit hardest. First, technology. Every chip, lithium battery, software license, and screen is dollar quoted. A 10% devaluation means a near mathematical 10% increase in the cost of that new iPhone.
That's a real quality of life issue.
Absolutely. And the third, which people often forget, is vehicles and spare parts. A car is essentially an assembly of imported steel, engines, and circuits. When the dollar strengthens, not only does the price of a new car surge, but the cost of keeping your existing car running through imported spare parts skyrockets. I know a friend who owns a plastics factory, and he told me, I sell in pesos, but my raw material, polypropylene, is priced from Houston. My profit is dictated by the Fed, not my local clients.
That's a powerful emotional insight right there. It shows how external forces dictate the fate of local businesses. But let's flick the coin. Does anyone benefit from a strong dollar?
Yes, absolutely. A strong dollar is a massive windfall for two main sectors. The first are exporters. A company that sells coffee or software abroad gets paid in dollars. When they convert those dollars into their weaker local currency, they suddenly gain a huge amount more money, boosting their profitability and national competitiveness.
And inbound tourism, right?
Exactly, inbound tourism. A foreign tourist arrives, exchanges their strong dollar for a large pile of local currency, and suddenly, hotels, restaurants, and activities become incredibly affordable for them. This stimulates the local services economy. It's a classic economic duality. The consumer of imports loses, the generator of exports wins.
So the question is, how do we, the everyday consumers who need our imported phones and medicines, protect ourselves? What are the actionable, practical steps we can take, our personal defense strategies?
The first line of defense is intelligent budget management. You cannot stop the force of the dollar, but you can build a financial dike. My top tip is diversify your savings. Don't keep 100% of your long-term wealth in local currency. Even if it's a small amount, hold some in strong currencies or dollar-linked assets like global index funds, if your local market allows.
Makes sense. Buy the master key before it gets too expensive.
The second is to plan large purchases with authority. If you know you need a heavily imported item, that new fridge or laptop, monitor the Fed announcements. If you see a rate hike coming, act quickly because the pass-through effect ensures those prices will rise in the coming weeks.
And the third tip is?
I call it natural hedging. As a consumer, look for brands and products that have a high component of local integration. If a phone is merely assembled in your country, that's better than 100% imported because a portion of the cost, the labor, the local energy, is paid in local currency. You are partially mitigating the dollar's impact. The greatest act of defense against imported inflation is import substitution, consuming local where possible.
That's brilliant advice. It moves us from being passive economic spectators to informed actors. We understand the mechanism now. To recap, the dollar's reserve status makes it the universal price setter. The Fed's rates drive the demand for that dollar, and the pass-through effect ensures that price hike immediately hits our wallets, even for locally produced goods that rely on imported parts.
Precisely. The dollar is a force of nature, but your financial education is your shield. You can't stop the tide, but you can learn how to navigate your boat.
Well said, B. Thank you so much for breaking down this complex topic into such relatable, actionable steps.
My pleasure, Kala. Keep learning, keep growing.
And thank you for tuning into The Invisible Hand. Until next time, stay curious and stay informed.